Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new episode of the South Central Louisiana State Mud Dogs, where it's kind of a tale of two teams. We're coming into this game undefeated, 8-0 with a 7-0 record in Sunbelt play, while the team that we're playing against hasn't won a single game yet. They are 0-7. They've looked even worse in conference play, and there's a few reasons why. They have the worst offense in the entire country, 11 points per game. Only 250 yards of total offense per game, but regardless, we're going to go into this game. We're not going to take them for granted, but we are hoping that we can get to see our backups in before a huge game next week. But before we let's jump into this game. Alright, so here we are at the Mud Bog, home of the South Central Louisiana State Mud Dogs, and we're going to get into this coin toss real quick, which South Alabama does win. It might be the only thing that they win today, but they're choosing to receive the ball. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out for him, as Ashley Moore is going to drop back the pass. He's going to throw it over to the left-hand side, and Ashley Moore is picked off by Bruce Terrell. He somehow runs out of bounds, which is unfortunate, so going to have to go ahead and settle for his really nice field position that John Espinoza gets a first down for. And just like that, we are in the red zone already with an opportunity to get a touchdown for the Mud Dog crowd. 2nd and 5 is going to be coming up, though, for your Mud Dogs. And we're going to try to run this little read option. And Casey Bugg seems like he's brought down with the horse collar, but the ref didn't seize it. Regardless, it's going to be a 1st and goal at the 2-yard line. John Espinoza's in the motion. We're going to run it with Stan Castillo, but he's stuffed in the backfield. Loss of 7 yards leads to an extremely long 3rd and goal situation. Tries to throw it over the middle to John Espinoza, but the defense is simply too good, and we have to settle for a field goal. Alright, so it was unfortunate that we had to settle for a field goal right there, but at least we got some points. It wasn't a turnover. It's usually Ken saying the same thing at some points in the last season with G. Gannell at our quarterback position, but we'll be okay. Even though South Alabama is driving, they are winless for a reason, and we saw on the first drive. However, this flight are going to throw it deep, and Ashley Moore nearly gets picked off a second time, this time by Tyree Pickens. 3rd and 10 coming up for South Alabama. It's a throw over to the left-hand side, and it looks like Keith Moore just gets 2 feet in bounds, keeps the drive going. And South Alabama early on, maybe we have to be on upset alert once again. Really don't want to do that, but it looks like we're going to get a touchdown. No. Okay, so we might have to wait one more play. 3rd and goal now. We need to get a stop right here. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen, as Nathan Richard gets into the end zone, and South Alabama has a 7-3 lead. Okay, so ensuing kickoff for your Mud Dogs, it looks like Casey Bugg is going to have an opportunity to return it, and he's going to take advantage of it. Really nice blocking. Come on, give me some blocks. And, of course, we had one more man to beat. We couldn't beat him. Although for the 2nd time in a row, we have really good field position to work with. Really want to get more of a touchdown here. Don't want to give these winless Jaguars any ideas, as Casey Bugg runs up the right-hand side for a gain of 21 yards on the play. Sets up a slants play for Stan Castillo to drop back. This time Ryan Wilson makes the catch. He has problems catching the ball every once in a while, but thankfully this time around, he does hold on to it this time. It's a gain of 13. However, next play, Stan Castillo, for some reason, doesn't set his feet. I really should have set the feet for him, but we'll still have another chance to try to get this first down. Casey Bugg has a nice run for us, so we have a nice 3rd and 3 to work with. Probably will run an option because we have 2 extremely fast guys. Except we actually run the slants, and it's nearly picked off. We didn't see the defensive lineman go into coverage, and we have to settle for another field goal. Luckily for us, South Alabama has a 3 and out, so we have the ball back. And for the 3rd time in a row, we start on South Alabama's side of the field. Can I actually score a touchdown, please? We will certainly hope and pray that happens, but right now, the Mud Dogs offense is moving pretty well. They're doing a pretty good job moving in between the 20s, but can't seem to finish the drives, get touchdowns instead of field goals, and after 1/4, South Alabama is still ahead 7-6. Definitely more of a struggle for the offense than we anticipate, but hopefully we can pick it up here in the second quarter, starting with this wide receiver motion option that Casey Bug breaks multiple tackles for a 5-yard gain. Really powerful running by our running back right there. And then on the next play, Stan Castillo is going to drop back the pass, and Tim Smith's going to hang on to it for our very first touchdown of the game. Your Mud Dogs are going to take a 13-7 lead. Ensuing possession, South Alabama is going to get the ball right back, and it's a nice run for running back Chris Smith, who gains 13 yards on the play, sets up another first down. And then Chris Smith is going to get another pretty nice carry, so South Alabama's running game is starting to catch up to the pass game, which is doing pretty solid now. It's more of a challenge than I thought it was going to be, for an 0-7 squad. They're definitely giving their best since we have that target on our back. But we do get the sack, and then Bobby Boucher almost has the interception, but can't quite hold on to it. But we will get the ball right back. South Alabama's punter does a really good job, though, of pinning us back pretty far, as Stan Castillo is going to gain 8 yards on the wide receiver option. 2nd and 2, though, for your Mud Dogs, and it's another throw to Ryan Wilson. He drops it, and once again, it's nearly picked off. Really got to cut down on the drops for Ryan Wilson. Next play, Stan Castillo, he's going to get the option. It's for a gain of 7, and it's for another first down. This time around, Stan Castillo is going to drop back the pass. He throws it up the middle, and for the second time on this drive, Ryan Wilson drops the pass. That has to be at least his 3rd drop of the game, which is pretty tough to see. This time we throw it to a more sure-handed receiver in John Espinoza. He makes the catch, and then we'll just keep it on the ground so that nobody drops the ball, hopefully, and Casey Bug gets another first down for us on the play. So we're already only 3 minutes left in this first half, and as Carl Wright, he gets his very first carry of the game, this time going for 6 yards. Mud Dogs are starting to move pretty reasonably well. Hopefully this means we'll get some more points on the board, this time more touchdowns, because I really want to get to a point where we're up by so much that we can put the backups in and not worry about it. And here's a lane for Stan, and Stan nearly gets into the end zone, but he's tripped up. It does lead to a nice 1st and goal opportunity inside the 5, which will be finished off by Casey Bug. He gets his first touchdown run of the game, and the Mud Dogs are going to go up 20-7 with about 2 minutes left in this first half. Ensuing possession, Ashley Moore is going to drop back to pass. He's going to throw it over to the left-hand side and nearly breaks the tackle. Cody Brewster does, but is going to be tackled a couple of yards shy of the first down marker. However, sets up a really long throw for Jason Washington. He just blows by Tyree Pickens, and it's a extremely long touchdown run, 67 yards. And on top of that, Steve Washington, he breaks his school record for most receiving yards in a season, so congratulations to that young man. Regardless of what the team is looking like around him, it takes a lot of talent to break a school record. I wish I would know something about that because I don't have any school records, but Nate Colvin is going to get closer to one as well, as Nate Colvin gets 28 yards on the reception. Sets up this 1st and 10. South Alabama's going to blitz. It's a terrible idea because it leaves John Espinoza wide open in the seam, as Stan Castillo, he's getting a lot better with his arm. He always had the speed to run the ball, but he's becoming a much more mature pocket passer too when called to do so. And Tim Smith is going to get into the end zone as Stan Castillo shows the awareness that Tim Smith doesn't have anybody, and we're back up 2 possessions. Minute left in this first half, though, and South Alabama is going to try to get a little bit more points on the board before the end of this first half. Remember, they chose to receive the ball instead of kick, so we get the ball right back when this half is over, and we nearly have another pick. It could have been Bruce Terrell's 2nd. That simply was not the case. 3rd and 3, though, for the South Alabama, and they are stuffed behind that line of scrimmage, and we are going to get the ball back with about a minute left. So here we are. We're going to try to get some more points on the board before the end of the half, as James Joyce grabs a huge gain that set us up at looks like about the 25-yard line, just sitting outside the red zone. The next play should get us there as Tim Smith, he barrels down the middle after the slant, gains 10 yards. Mud Dogs are going to take their second time out, however. 2nd and inches, though, for the Mud Dogs, and it's going to be another throw for, it looks like, Tim Smith, who gains another 10 yards on the reception, and the Mud Dogs are going to go into their hurry-up, take advantage of the weak defensive coverage for South Alabama, and it goes right back to Tim Smith because he's been so sure-handed on this drive. Get another touchdown, making it his second scoring toss for Stan Castillo. 30 seconds left in the first half, though. South Alabama's going to try to salvage this game, make it a little bit more reasonable going into halftime, although it's not sure whether they actually are going to do it or not. 20 seconds left, another throw up the middle, keeping the team in the boundaries, forcing South Alabama to take another timeout. So all of a sudden, they only have one more left. However, we can't have big throws like that as Corey Brewster goes up the middle, and it puts South Alabama in field goal range. They barely make it, but it still counts as 3 points on the board nonetheless. South Alabama is going to go into halftime only down by 17, but your Mud Dogs are going to go ahead and get the ball to start the second half. So here we are coming out of halftime, and they make the same mistake, this time kicking it to Mike Bullock within the boundaries, and looks like he's going to have another lane to work with. He has some blockers. Can he beat one more man? And it's not quite there. We do have good field position, but we can't simply take advantage of it. But our punter does a pretty good job of pinning them back, at least holding them inside the 20-yard line, giving them a long field to work with for our defense. Yet they're going to make it up with some solid running from Chris Smith. Gains 10 yards on the play, making it 2nd and inches. Ensuing play, Ashley Moore is going to drop back in the shotgun. Throws it to, excuse me, I burped, that's kind of sexy, as Legend Nerds always say it. But, South Alabama's driving. Hopefully we can stop them here pretty soon. Because like I said plenty of times before, I want to get the backups in because they are trash. I mean, let's be honest, if you have a guy named Ashley as your starting quarterback, probably doesn't lead to good things, as he coughs at the ball and Bobby Boucher nearly falls on it and he misses. But it's going to be Mud Dogs football anyways, because it was going to be sets up a 4th down, and we're going to continue our powerful running. Casey Bugg's going to gain 11 yards on the play, as Casey Buggs is doing a pretty good job running the ball. Only 11 carries, but already 75 yards, and he can do it with his hands as well, as he gets another 1st down with the reception. And here's another long run for Casey Bugg, this time for 23 yards. It means he has 12 carries for 98 yards on the game. What a special running day. And just continues to set up our passing offense as Brad Muse just slips out of the back room. Nobody accounted for him. He gains 13 yards and is going to be 1st and goal. So here we are getting ready to score another touchdown, and Casey Bugg is stopped just inside the 5-yard line. Sets up a 2nd and goal. Hopefully we're going to give it to our running game one more time, and we sure will, although it's going to be Carl Wright that's going to vulture the touchdown. We'll still take the points, though. I'm sure Casey Bugg is not going to complain. Mud Dogs are going to be up 41-17. Following a 3 and out, the Mud Dogs this time are going to have the ball on South Alabama's side of the field, and Casey Bugg is just going to continue punishing this defense. They simply do not have an answer for Casey Bugg. However, they do have an answer for drop passes, because Ryan Wilson drops it once again. 3rd and 6, though, for the Mud Dogs, and Casey Bugg is stopped basically in the backfield, barely gets to the line of scrimmage, and the Mud Dogs are going to have to settle for a field goal. So 44-7, it's pretty solid showing. I'm surprised that we allow South Alabama to score as much as they have. They've only averaged 10 points a game coming into this matchup against the Mud Dogs, but them having 17, I guess, is a miracle, I want to say. Oh well, we're still up by a solid amount. However, Chris Smith has a wide open hole to work with, gaining 11 yards, and it's another fresh 1st down for the South Alabama Jaguars. Next play, Chris Smith, he gets another throw up the middle. He gets blown up by Bobby Boucher, and it's going to be the last play of the third quarter as we come in 44-17. We could be seeing some backups, but certainly we can't be too sure, especially when James Washington is just going to walk right up the middle. I mean, Steve Washington, but either way, they get the touchdown. We're not too happy that Tyree Pickens gets burned for the second time in this game, which means South Alabama is going to be down by 20. So now it's the Mud Dogs do need to respond. We'd like to see another touchdown for this Mud Dogs offense. Try to get the backups in as soon as possible. We know that this game is going to be over, but we're going to try to pad the stats certainly for Casey Bug as he gains 4 yards on the play. He barely got that first down, though. That could have been disastrous if we allowed the South Alabama Jaguars to get the ball back. But it looks like we're going to make them wait just a little bit longer before they actually get to do that, as Casey Bug continues his tear with the running game. 19 carries, 139 yards. Dude has been balling out, and they don't have an answer for the running attack as Ryan Wilson, he makes multiple defenders miss, and he gains 20 yards on the run. 1st and 10, ball at the 16-yard line. It's going to be this time a run to Carl Wright, and that's probably one of the easier touchdowns you've seen throughout this game. Mud Dogs score once again, making it a 51-24 game. And what makes it better is that they got a 3 and out, so we're going to punt it right back to us. And Mike Bullock has a chance to take it back, and it's a gain of 22 yards on the return. And right there, you can see the difference of what's going on between these two teams. 26 first downs for the Mud Dogs and only 10 for South Alabama. Working on 27 is Casey Bug. He gets the first down carry, this time going for 7 yards. Makes it a reasonable 2nd and 3. And then a couple of plays later, this time looking at a 2nd and 9, and James Joyce is going to spin inside the 10-yard line. And it's going to set up a touchdown running attempt. Sorry, I lost my words, but it's going to be a field goal instead. And that's the last notable play of the game. Mud Dogs are going to win it 54-24, and, you know, we did what we were supposed to do, essentially. They were winless, we were undefeated. We proved why that was the case with this big win. Looking at some of the stats for today's game, Stan Castillo had a pretty nice game himself. 23 for 33 for 287 yards, 2 touchdowns. Really becoming more mature as a passer to really complement the speed that he was really blessed with when he first came in early on in the season. And the running attack is also coming around pretty well too. Casey Bug led the day, 21 carries for 150 yards. Although he didn't lead the team in rushing touchdowns, that right belongs to Carl Wright with 57 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tim Smith also added another touchdown on his only carry of the day for 12 yards. As for our receiving game, you know, the receivers are pretty spread out. We had 2 players with 5 receptions. That belongs to Tim Smith, who also had both passing touchdowns from Stan Castillo, and Casey Bug, who also had 5 receptions, but wasn't as successful with 14 yards. Ryan Wilson had a really difficult game. He had 5 drops total, only 3 catches, so he dropped more balls than he actually caught. Definitely not a good sign, especially as you're supposed to be a receiver and have one of the better hands on the team. So that's definitely pretty disappointing to see. Defense was not disappointing though whatsoever. Bobby Boucher led the team with tackles, with 8 tackles per usual, although he surprisingly didn't do too much else besides a couple of deflections and his tackles. But the rest of the team played extremely well though. Ben Miller, who is a newcomer to this team, he had 2 sacks total, and then the other sack belonged to James Joyce, a hard-hitting safety that has been a starter for multiple years now. He has the other sack, and then Bruce Terrell had an interception that went for 4 yards. He could have easily had 2 should he caught that other pass in the first half, but that simply wasn't in the cards for him. We'll definitely take the 1 interception for Bruce Terrell nonetheless. And then we have some pretty nice recruiting news as Anthony Flores and Isaac Rice both committed to our school. And then Looks like Paul is going to also come to us as well. So we have 3 total recruits signing with the Mud Dogs this past week, and we are set up with quite a battle against number 2 Texas A&M. It's going to definitely be a tough test for us, which I'm really excited for. Until then, that's all I have for today. Make sure you leave a like, leave a comment for your boy, and subscribe to the channel if you are excited to see this top 25 matchup turn into fruition in Texas A&M next week. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.